Well, hello and welcome back to the Daily Brew, the devotional where every day we drink a new brew of coffee and we see what God is brewing for us in the Bible. Yes, it's cheesy, but it's true. And you join me another day here in Auckland City, day 114 on our Bible in a Year plan. Great to have you with me. Missed ya. Welcome back. Let's have a look at our scriptures for today. Looking forward to getting into our devotional. As always, they are in the descriptions on every platform. Today, Psalm chapter 50, verse 16 to 23, Luke chapter 22, verse 39 to 62, and Joshua chapter 5, verse 13 to chapter 7, verse 26. So those are our scriptures for today. And as I said, looking forward to getting into our devotional. But before we go any further, let's get into our brews. And today, I found a new brew. Now, first of all, got beef with the packaging. So that's where my first beef is. It's a tearaway top, which if you're watching, you'll see it's jagged and that's not going to be great for the whole airtighting it. It will have to go into a container. Now, this is the Every Bird. Every Bird. It's an everyday blend, whole beans, fair trade, organic, as the usual things are. Full-bodied, bit chocolatey, bit biscuity. That's the tasting notes today. Now, here's the interesting thing. I got this and then I was examining the packet because there's quite a lot to see on the packet. As I was examining the packet, this is actually done by Kokako. So this is just another brand from the Kokako roastery, which is really, really interesting. And I've got no idea why they've done this, why they've made a new The only thing I can really see is that it's because it's the Fair Climate Fund. So this is like their effort to work on a new climate, or it's a different brand, but they use the same roastery. So interesting to me. Now, the other thing too that I saw in the supermarket is that they have a half caffeine bean, which I didn't get this time. I thought I'd just start with a standard. So maybe in a couple of weeks' time, we'll grab that and give that a try. Today, I've started it as an espresso. I've got it in an espresso form. So looking forward to getting into that. 18 grams in, 34 grams out. And this one ran a little bit slow at 24 seconds. So a little bit slower than what I'd like. But let's see. The tasting notes, as I said, were bit chocolatey, bit biscuity, which doesn't really leave me with much to go on. But let's give it a try today. What's it called? The Every Bird coffee. Let's give it a go. You know what? That's really yum. That's actually very good. They are right. It is a bit biscuity. It's got like quite not a shortbread, but like almost like an Arnott's chocolate biscuit. You know, like it's got that has a distinct taste, distinct flavor. Yeah, it's nice. It's good. I want to give it another go, actually. I just want to double dip on this. 1 second, please. Please hold. Yeah. Do you know what? It's not acidic at all. There's no acid flavor. There's no citrus in it at all. It's just a lovely chocolate, almost quite malty. It's quite malty in its flavor. But it's got lovely just hints of what you'd be looking for in terms of a chocolatey, biscuity coffee. It's good. It's good. I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10 in terms of its flavor profile. I don't dislike it. I don't love it. I wouldn't be running to buy this. It's a bit more expensive too because it's supporting the environment and the packaging eco-friendly. So in terms of cost to bean, where I bought it here in New Zealand at the time of recording, it's a bit expensive for what I'm looking for, but it's okay. So if these are still stocking them, give them a try. The Every Bird bean. This is just the Every Bird everyday blend. So give that a go. I'll see what it tastes like as a Chemex in the days to come. But that is it for the brews today. Let's get into the Bible, the reason that we are here. There are two attitudes that we have when it comes to God. We can either honor Him or hate Him. Now, God says in the Psalm today that those who sacrifice thank offerings honor Him. Now, remember yesterday we talked a little bit about sacrifices of thank offerings. Now, if we do that, God is saying that we honor Him in contrast to those who hate His instruction. If you fall into the hate category towards God, you begin to ignore Him and then forget Him altogether. That's what verse 22 says. We can go from honoring God to hating God. When we go through tough times in life, when we go through times in life that we don't understand or seem unfair, we can begin to hate God. We ask questions like, Why don't you move in my life like that? Or why do you heal them and not me? Why do you do miracles for that person and not for my life? We ask, we compare, and contrast what God does in other people's lives and feel dejected with God. Because of this, we drift. We stop reading our Bible, we stop praying, we stop attending church, and then without realizing it, we've actually slipped away from honoring God and into a space of hating Him. So how do we reverse this? The answer lies in a sacrifice of thanks. We need to actively thank God for the good things He has done, and we need to return back to Him and thank Him, not even just for what He's done, but for who He actually is. We need to shift our perspective from praising God and thanking Him for what He does to praising and thanking God for who He is. Because at the end of the day, even if God doesn't do something on your behalf, God is still who He says that He is. There are also two paths that we can choose to live on. It's God's path or our path. I don't know about you, but I'm constantly harassed with having to make this decision. It's almost like every decision I need to make is framed with this decision. Am I going to walk on God's road, even if it costs me, or am I going to go my own way? Jesus, He chooses God's way over His own. This wrestle in the garden leaves humanity in a far better place as Jesus chooses God's way, and that changes everything. We'll never face the same weight of the choice that Jesus faced, but we will have choices of our own that we're going to need to make. And we're going to have to choose, is it going to be God's will over ours, or is it going to be our will over God's? Judas is in complete contrast with Jesus in this way. He chose to go his own way for a small packet of silver and betray Jesus and hand Him over for His death. When we read this passage, we either think that we're like Jesus or we think that we're like Judas. I would choose God's way just like Jesus, or I would choose my own way like Judas. But I think we're neither. I think we're a little bit more like Peter. See, Peter, he did both. He chose to follow Jesus at a distance. This is like Judas choosing to go his own will and choosing his own will and to go his own way. One of the things that separated Peter and Judas, however, was when Peter realized he'd actually gone his own way, he repented. And that's in John chapter 21. He turns back to Jesus. He returns to Jesus and he stops going his own way and ends up going on Jesus' way. You might be facing this too. You can't earn your way to grace or to mercy. So I want to encourage you to take a moment right now and return to God. Finally, today there are two types of ground we stand on, holy or hidden. Is there anywhere in your life right now that's hidden because of it's a place of secret sin? Notice the contrast of Joshua standing on holy ground and Achan standing on the ground of hidden sin. God's messenger appears to Joshua and Joshua falls on his face in reverence and was told to take off his sandals, for the ground he was standing on was holy ground. There are times where in the presence of God, it seems so heavy that we struggle to stand. This has actually happened to me multiple times. One of the times was when we were running a kids conference and it was the sound check before the session and we were praying, the band was sound checking and I was drinking my coffee in the morning, it was early, and all of a sudden the presence of God filled the room and I fell to my knees. I physically struggled to stand to my feet because of the weight of the glory of God in the room. If we make a pattern of our life to stand on holy ground, we'll have success just like Joshua. Standing on holy ground stirs our faith. Unlike the hidden ground, Achan disobeyed God. He hid the silver and gold under his tent. We can't be like Achan and look good on the outside, but on the inside have this hidden life of sin. Life with God is not compartmentalized. It's all in. Achan's sin actually impacted the whole camp. The impacts were not just on him, but on those around him. And our sin impacts the lives of others too. What I want you to do today is ask the Holy Spirit to highlight any hidden sin that's in your tent that represents your life and repent of it. If you get it highlighted, let it go. Let's live together on holy ground. Verse of the day. Verse of the day today, Luke 22:42 says, "Not my will, but yours be done." A prayer and a heart position that changed the course of humanity forever. Don't underestimate what can happen when this is your prayer and your heart position too. And that is it for the Daily Brew, day 114, done and dusted. Thank you so much for joining me today on another day of the Daily Brew. I'm praying for you. I pray God is speaking to you as much as He is to me throughout the scriptures. Hey, a massive thank you to every single person who's taken a moment and followed, rated the podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and to those who are on YouTube, checking us out, watching the videos every day. Thank you if you've subscribed. If you haven't done so already, take a moment and do that now. It'll be a huge blessing to me as we get this out, this free devotional, out far and wide for every single person who can connect with this. That is it, though, for today. A massive thank you for joining me. Come back tomorrow, day 115, back here on the Daily Brew in my kitchen here in Auckland. Can't wait to see you. Until then, though, if it's the start of your day, have a great rest of your day. Unless it's sleep time, good night, sleep tight, and we'll see you back here tomorrow for the Daily Brew.